was complete. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back to tonight's Sovereign Life Team call. It's June 13th, 2022. And we're going to touch base with a little bit of what we've been creating. You know, the leadership team has been up and running, I think, a little bit over a week now. So we've had some things that we've discussed, specifically around community culture, community values, what there is to look forward, what there is to look towards with respect to what we're actually cultivating as a community, how we want you guys to feel being a member of the Sovereign Life community. So I think unless we have any recent recognition, any movement over the last week, anything that needs to be mentioned before we jump into the discussion around that, I'm not sure. I'm going to open up the floor just for a second to see if there is anything. No?
I don't think so.
Okay, solid. So then we're just going to move right into the discussion. We have a little presentation to share with you guys based on what we discussed. Sav, pull it up. And this is going to be specific to cultural values as well as our Sovereign Life vision and mission.
And we want to get everyone's, we want to get your feedback on this. We're not just like, hey, we made this and this is how it's going to be. We're like, hey, we created this. Now, we want to know, how do you guys feel about it? Is there anything you want to add or change?
Exactly. So we're going to have more of a discussion based.
And also keep in mind our requirements for the leadership team in the next week. And that is being present, having your camera on, participating.
5 ABCs.
5 ABCs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to share.
And that starts with making the decision that you are going to be on the leadership team.
Right? Yeah, it's not if I do this.
Decided that you want that and that you're going to make it happen, then you won't attract the people. You won't do the work to reach out to people to set up those 5 ABCs, right?
Exactly.
Anything is possible once you decide that it's possible. This world is a world by your own design. So decide what it is you want and then find a way to make it happen. Or the way will really find you if you're decided on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
Wait, pause. On that note too, again, we're going to send out a document for everybody to fill out attendance, key takeaways from tonight's call. So just pay mind to that. I'll actually send that in the group chat right after.
So I just want to briefly cover, why are we creating this document of team values. And then after this, we're going to go into mission and vision. So we think that we're creating a community. We've said this a million times. Our goal is to create the world's most influential wellness community. And every community has what's called a team culture or community culture, right? This is what are the rules of the community? What is the vibration of the community? What is okay within this community? What's not okay with this within this community? What does this community stand for? What is our purpose in the world? So I think that, we collectively think that in really defining what our core values are and what our mission is and what our vision is, it's going to help us to share the message of the Sovereign Life community so much better. And it's going to help us show up for the Sovereign Life community in a way that's more aligned. It's going to tell us, who do I need to be in order to be a valuable contributor to this community? So yeah, I hope everyone's in agreement with that, but this is kind of the why of why are we defining these things now? And yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so we created 5 values that we believe that this team should embody. And again, this isn't what others may see this, but this isn't from the outside in. This is from the inside, the values that we see within our community. So the first one that we outlined was integrity. This is do what you say and say only what you mean. Honesty in pros and cons of what you like about something, what you don't like about it, when it comes to products, when it comes to when it comes to sharing with each other and sharing with the community, transparency with your message, transparency with how you're feeling, willingness to show up and share honestly despite challenges that may come up. Be asking for help when you need it, not hiding what you're thinking. And be honest about your goals, be honest about what you want. And then we have respect each other's time and energy. It's showing up when we say we're going to have a call, and you're going to be there. Respect that your teammates are there to support you and be there for you and hold space and energy for you, and be considerate of their time as well. So that's the first value that we put together. Should we do it by
Yeah, I just had an idea. I don't know if you guys how you guys feel about this, but obviously these words are just words until we attach meaning to them, right? And so these are kinds of these are sort of our definitions or meaning or purpose behind each of these values. But I'd love to know from the team, how you guys perceive integrity. What does integrity mean to you? I don't know if that's something you guys want to go through, if we go through each of these values, or if we maybe just want to open up a dialogue.
Can someone take notes, because I'm screen recording?
Yeah.
Take notes.
I will put up a document.
Yeah, so let's open the floor. What do you guys feel about this first value, number 1? And 2, what are some personal examples of this that you feel?
Yeah,
that you should demonstrate.
I agree with the definition of integrity that you guys came up with. I also I think I do this a lot when I will reach out to Sophia or you guys if I need help, if I feel like I'm doubting myself in the business, or I feel like things aren't going my way, or just in general. Also a lot of my leadership segments focus around being open and honest and relying on each other. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think Moya, you really represent integrity in this team, because you always show up, and you always show up on time. You're always super respectful of everyone's time and energy. And I really love how transparent you are too. Even though you might not come out in front of the whole group and be like, hey, I have this thought or this objection, or I'm not feeling good about this, you'll always come to me and you'll let me know what you're struggling with. And I appreciate that a lot, because I can't help you, if I don't know what you're struggling with.
Yeah.
So I think you really represent integrity in our team.
Yeah. Really being as honest as possible about where you're at, because that's really the only way to know how to move forward.
Right. If something rubs you the wrong way, if something just doesn't feel aligned for you, say it,
Yeah. And I think, part of this also, aside from how we communicate and interact with one another, is with ourselves as well. Because I think, to me, integrity in its very basic form, the way that I always understand it, is your words and your actions match up, they align. And I also feel like that's also how we speak to ourselves, the way that we set goals, as well as telling ourselves that this is what we're doing or this is what we want, but not acting in alignment with that. So integrity on the individual level, and then also extending that into how we show up with one another within this community, and just being as real as we possibly can, because that's where the work is.
I would like for everyone to kind of say something on this, because again, this is not just our values, this is the entire team's values. If you agree, if you don't agree, if you think it should be a different word, or chime in. Floor is open.
I think you guys, what is that saying? Hit the nail, spot on.
I hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
There we go. I don't even know what other way you would describe or demonstrate integrity, but I do think that is an important attribute to have in your team and in your team members.
And you guys see yourself embodying it. Integrity.
Um,
That's,
I
I
mean,
think,
but
that's
there's
cool.
all like times where I feel like I fall short. So it's definitely something I need to improve on.
Yeah,
I think that can be said for all of us. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like every time, like I always a great like understanding for me is how it's being reflected in my reality, right? So anytime somebody, for instance, cancels a call, like that's a very basic example that I like to think of. I
Yeah.
have an ABC scheduled, let's say, and the person cancels last minute. That's not honoring my time, right? That's not honoring my energy. That's not showing up with integrity because they said they were going to do something and then they fell short of that. But then it just becomes a reflection of, okay, in what areas of my life am I doing the same? Right. So that's kind of how you can use your experiences within this business to really guide you in terms of where we can improve, because there's no way in hell that we're going to be perfect.
Yeah.
mhm,
Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So the next one we have outlined is consistency. Showing up daily for yourself, for your business and your team, despite obstacles that will inevitably come your way. Guys, there's always going to be something going on. There's always going to be something that comes up, something that you're experiencing, not to take away from your experience, but to not use that as an excuse for not being consistent in your business and in showing up. You know, sometimes you'll find, you know, you can't put as much effort in today. You can't, you can't do it. But the least that you can
yeah,
do is show up. The least you could do is just show up and be there despite
Mhm.
what's going on. Because what you'll find is you'll probably feel better by being in a community that want to hear you and support you. You'll probably actually feel better. So being consistent in at least, you know, committing to one thing that you're going to do every single week or every single day, however, you know, level of committed that you want to be. If it's just showing up to these Monday night calls and that's what's going to keep you consistent in your business, then make that your thing.
Mhm.
And, you know, we do say, especially for the business and especially for the calls, you know, we do have other calls throughout the week. They're not mandatory, but honestly, I think the Monday night calls should be mandatory because they really are the community building calls.
Yeah.
It's really what gets you involved and what teaches you and what you learn from.
I wanted to just touch on this real quick as well, because I
Yeah.
think one really important aspect of consistency and when it comes through is understanding that progress is not linear.
mhm,
So the idea of really just being present with where you're at in your best every day, because, you know, on any one day can look different than the next. I mean, I learned this a lot through my yoga teacher training when we were doing the same consistent practice every single day. And I felt entirely different in my mind, body every single day that I was doing it. So progress is not linear. And when you start to understand that, you
Yeah.
recognize that just because you took maybe 3 steps forward the week before and now you're 2 steps back, those 2 steps back are also important for you in terms of how you show up today. They're also important for you in terms of how you learn and how you grow. So remaining committed and consistent to some degree, like Savannah said, if your best today is simply just showing up to a call, or your best today is maybe you're not taking specific action, but you're studying. When you're not acting, you're studying, you're watching other people who are in a position that you would want to be in. Maybe that's the extent of what you can do for yourself today, but it's something. So just be where you are, be at your best any day, knowing that it's going to look different, but choose to show up and commit to the vision anyways.
Mhm. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think this is a value that you agree with, that you want to commit to, that you see for the team?
Yeah.
I love this one, and I'm glad you guys added it because it's definitely something that I embody in my day-to-day life. Consistency, something I've always I've always struggled with, but I found over the years it's changing some of the definitions. So instead of saying I'm going to read for 1 hour at this time every single day, even if I end up reading for 2 minutes, that's still
Mm.
being consistent. And
Mhm.
in order to make great progress in any area of your life, I think you do require this consistency. So yeah, I'm glad that.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for sharing.
All right, so third one is resourcefulness. We all know how many times we've blamed Nikan or this or that for not having, you know, the solution to something and needing it, but really what one of the biggest things that was highlighted in the Women in Network Marketing Conference, they literally said, put me in any one of your businesses and I will make it $1 million business.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter your product, it doesn't matter your business. All that matters is you. How resourceful can you be as a person? And that really stuck me because I've made so many excuses as well. And so
Mm.
I want to embody in my business being resourceful. If we can't find something, look it up. If you can't find something, ask for it. Don't just say, oh, I didn't do it because it wasn't given to me or it wasn't obvious. So looking for the solution and finding solutions, even when it's obvious, not giving up, being resourceful.
Yeah. And I think this one goes without saying when you decide to take on the role of an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Once you claim that title, it's no longer about what other people can do for you. It's about what you can do for yourself.
I think it's like, it's not even about resources. It's about how
How
resourceful.
resourceful you are. Yeah.
Dad shared the story. I think he shared the story on the Thursday night call, where one of his, $1 million earners, Sylvain
Samard.
yeah, he came to my dad and he didn't have the money to start his business. My dad was like, look, Nikan doesn't require it, but to be honest, I require it because this is what I teach. I teach duplication. I teach how to actually be successful in your business. And this is the only way I know how to do it. The only way I know how to do it is you got to invest in your products. You got to have this money ready and prepared to start so that you can learn your products and you can go out and do what I tell you to do. He didn't have the money. So my dad sent him away.
Mhm.
But he came back to my dad 3 months later and said, I have the money. I'm here. I want to start. And he didn't make an excuse of why he couldn't do the business. He said, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way. Because I want to do this business. And it made him millions of dollars because he did it that way.
It's
And that's something that's
literally how you
also
frame it in your mind.
Yeah. And I think that's also something we're learning ourselves, like one of our approaches might need to change in regards to who we mentor and who we're,
Yeah.
who we're really putting our energy and time into, because the way my dad got to where he is by being very direct and very open and honest about what it takes,
Yeah.
what type of mindset it takes, the business that it takes, the investment that it takes. And
It's not even just, this goes beyond, even money. This also has to do with how you use your time, how you use your time and energy. Like the 3 main resources my uncle always talks about is time, money, and contacts, right? So how are you actually leveraging that? Like we talked about this a lot in our Life on Purpose call. It's not about the time that you have. It's about what you do with that time. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. But what really comes down to is the stories that you tell yourself, the questions you ask yourself. The more powerful the questions, the more powerful the answers, right? So someone like Sylvain Samard, that's how you say his name?
Yeah.
When he was told this is what it takes and he didn't have it in that moment, rather than saying, oh, I can't do it, I don't have the means, he was like, how can I find the means? How can I make it work? He asked himself the question so that his mind could go to work to find the solution. That's resourcefulness. It's not hitting a wall and realizing that you don't have any options. You always have options. You always have possibilities. You always have choice. And you don't get anything from nothing. That's the reality. Like imagine the way we do with our university degrees. Imagine you spent tens of thousands of dollars and invested 6 years of your life for this business. Would you be treating it as a hobby? No, you would not. You would not. So again, just thinking about
resourcefulness also going into your day-to-day activity. Like I bring it up because it's a good, even though I brought it up before, but it's a good example. When I was going for Club Kia, I still had 2,000 points I needed in the day, but I already made a decision that I was getting it done. Some people have a hard time doing 2,000 points in a month, and I did it in a day because I did more than that in a day because I literally decided there was no other option, and I got resourceful. I really started using I was like, how can I make this work? What can I possibly do to get this done? And my brain already decided that it was done. So I went to work and things started attracting into my life that brought me that goal. So again, it goes back to your day-to-day too, being resourceful, not just like in every moment, even at the last second. My dad's story where he achieved Royal Diamond. That's in a few of our Zoom calls back. And if you haven't listened to my dad's story, I definitely encourage you to do so. He achieved Royal Diamond, the highest rank in Nikken, and he set a goal for himself months before. He still had a whole bunch of points left that day, and there was somebody who was supposed to sign up and then didn't, and it was like they could have right there been like, oh, you know what, we can have it done tomorrow. And for a
Mhm.
second, my dad did do that. For a second, his brain kind of went like, huh, I guess like it's not going to happen. And then he literally like caught himself and was like, that's not the person that I want to be. This is the person that I want to be. And he stepped into that reality and they got it done. And literally hours before, he was on a Nikken stage and they announced, like, by the way, you just became Royal Diamond. So it's being resourceful in every little moment. I think that's also a very big key to the business. What do you guys think of this one?
I think this is like super, super important, especially when making the transition from being an employee to an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the major differences.
Yeah.
An employee waits for somebody to tell them what to do, or an entrepreneur goes out and finds the answer themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Like, we're not saying don't do that, but that could be part
Right.
of getting resourceful and like finding the answer is like, okay, who do I know who
Yeah,
has the answer to this question?
exactly.
But then again, it's like if you're looking for like testimonials or something, like likely if you ask me for a testimonial for something, I'm just going to go to YouTube and look for something. Right. Whereas like you could just go to YouTube and do that, or you could go to
Yeah.
Google and search up the effects of magnetics on the body, or the effects of far infrared on the body, or the importance of alkaline water. So getting better at just like finding those resources on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Like understanding that, like, ask for help when you need it. But if the help is not coming through in the time that you need it or the way that you want, that shouldn't stop you from moving forward with your business. Right.
Mhm.
And I think a big thing in terms of mentality and mindset that like every single one of us needs to continue to tune into and start to make the shift towards is, rather than I can't, it's how can I? Literally that question alone is like one of the best things that you could do for yourself when it comes to being more resourceful. Just how can I? You don't even need to necessarily have the answer in the moment that you ask the question. Just start asking the question.
So write that down. I like that. How can I?
You don't have to know the
You
what
so
was
rather
it?
than I can't, it's how can I? Becomes a question that activates your mind, and you don't necessarily need to have the answer in the moment
Yeah.
you ask it, but you need to ask the question.
Your subconscious will go to work finding the
Go to
answer.
work. Exactly.
So the fourth value that we have outlined is failing forward. And I really like this one. And we were trying to find a word that, really embodied what we were saying. And, failing is actually a very good thing. And every entrepreneur will tell you that the more you fail, the more successful, the faster you fail, the faster you
You'll succeed.
Mhm.
And, we wanted to put this in here because we embrace mistakes. One of the biggest things I've learned since starting my business is that I've experienced so many things where I'm like, oh, I wish I said it differently, or, oh, that could have gone better. I messed up. Oh, if I did this, then maybe they would have saw what I see and they would have joined and it would have been, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many times we say, oh, what if I did this? Or what if that? But really, it was those mistakes. It was those things that made me clearer on what I wanted and on how I wanted to be represented, how I wanted to be, what I wanted people to see me as, what I wanted my approach to be. Like, it helped me find my voice. And so the point of this one is, fail forward. When we fail, when something doesn't go through, good, because now you're one step closer to actually getting what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Accept the manifestation, accept what's shown up in your life, see it for what it is, evaluate it, and then decide what you want. Rather than judging it, observe it and allow it to help us grow and find our authenticity. So yeah, we embrace imperfection, and like as long as it's as long as the imperfection is okay, this is what I'm seeing, I'm gonna learn from it.
Mhm.
Rather than it being like, oh, that turned out horrible, like I suck, this isn't for me, I can't do this. Like blaming instead of being like, no, I saw this. This is how I want to approach it differently.
Mhm.
We're always growing, even if we need to take a step back. I don't call it taking a step back. I call it going back to consistency, going back to the resourcefulness, doing what you can. If you're going through something, do what you can, show up as you can, but don't take a step back.
Yeah.
Make little steps forward if that's what you need.
Yeah.
So this is our fourth value. What do you guys think of this one?
Hello.
I'm pretty quiet until someone speaks.
I like it. We said like not back, just keeping the consistency. Looking at it like failing or going backwards, but this is a different approach.
I have a question. How many people on this call are actually comfortable with the idea of failing?
As a huge perfectionist, not at all.
Right.
Same.
It's definitely something I'm working on.
Yeah.
I think
but
Yeah.
I think the more you remind yourself that it's literally inevitable, the more comfortable you'll become with embracing it, recognizing that like you've never been here before, and therefore you will not know how to move forward. Like you will literally not have all of the answers. You are not going to be perfect at it. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. And a friend of mine shared this on her Instagram recently. The idea around what the two main fears are when it comes to success, just the fear of failure and the fear of success itself. And the
Word.
fear of failure holds a lot of people back from starting in the first place, because we've been taught to believe that if we misstep or if it's not perfect the first time, then we're not worthy.
Or like I have to know everything before I can do something.
And part of
Yeah.
that also comes from also recognizing, guys, that your value and your worth is innate. It's inherent. It is not dependent on anything you do, say, think, any of that. Start
Yeah.
there and then recognize that if you really want to create the life that you want to create and become the person that you want to become, you got to become real familiar with failure.
And
Realistic.
also, like, not for anything, but we're all so young.
Yeah, like
We're all at a point in our lives where, like, I don't think we're supposed to know what the hell we're doing, to be honest. I think that we're all exactly where we need to be in terms of trying different things, you know, learning new skills, developing into the people we want to become, really honing in on what is my specific mission and purpose here. I don't think we're supposed to be super clear on that yet. Okay. We're allowed to fail. I think this is a great time to just like put your head down and like run straight forward into a wall, you know, and like see what happens. So just and I just say that to like invest yourself fully into something, give it all you got, and see what happens, you know. And if
Exactly.
it doesn't go well, oh well, like you have literally so many years of your life to figure it out. I don't think
Right.
the guy who like owns the McDonald's franchise, he didn't start that until he was 50 years old, and he became like a multi-billionaire. That's another great example. I think Oprah, when she was around our age, she like literally had just gotten fired from her like news reporter job or something, you know. So don't worry, guys, we have so much time. Just do the best you can with what you have. Give it all you got so that you don't have any regrets in life moving forward. And be willing to make mistakes and be willing to not hit the goals that you hit, but to grow along the way. And I think it really goes back to like being committed to the outcome, but being flexible in how it actually comes to pass.
Exactly. Exactly. Like the only way you really, really, really fail when you're committed to like the journey of it all is if you quit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's honestly the
Yeah.
definition of failure is quitting.
quitting.
Yeah, that's why maybe failing isn't the best word choice in this value, but I think like, you get the point. Because I really don't see anything as like
A
failing.
failure. I know. I'm the same way.
The only
It's more
failure I
of-
see is quitting. I see
Yeah,
that failure.
quitting.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. Last one we have, of course, is empowerment. I think one of the biggest things I've noticed when thinking about this in my own experiences and the experiences of other people in my life, and I'm sure you guys could probably relate, is, we're motivated through shame a lot of the time. We're motivated through fear and shame. We're motivated by that through our school, by our parents, by whatever, we grew up in society. Like, it's most of the time we're motivated by, oh, make sure that, if you get this, like fear of failure, fear of being judged and shamed. And that's how we're motivated to get things done. But we recognize how that really does not actually motivate us. And it actually only produces like more fear, more negativity, more discouragement. And so we really want to make it a value and a standard that we motivate each other through love, not shame. And this is something that we also recognize might be a little tough, might mean we need to call each other out once in a while because we're not motivating through love. And it's a pattern. It's a pattern and it's a paradigm that has been consistent in our society, but it's not something that we want to take on anymore. It's something that we're releasing and we're letting go of. And we really think that it should be a main focus in the way that we bring value to each other. And I think that's really going to make us unique compared to other businesses and companies and just like other people, if we're a society, if we're a community that motivates each other through love. So I want to do this because empowering also becomes empowering yourself, embodying who you are and what you have to offer and helping others do the same in that. We all have unique gifts. We know that. And we all have a unique purpose. And we want to be able to utilize that and be the fullest expression of ourselves that we can be. And when we are the fullest expression of ourselves, we empower others to do the same. It goes to this, I don't know if I shared it with you guys. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but it's about, let me find it because it was really great. And it had to do with, just motivating.
What's the premise behind it? Savannah?
I'm gonna find it. Okay, here, found it. So it says, thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the light of that candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. So the whole point of this is that own your light, be as bright as you can. You're not taking away from somebody else, and you shining light onto them isn't taking away your light. It's only spreading that light and spreading that happiness.
Yeah.
And I really think that that should be a big part of the Sovereign Light community. I want us to be able to be a candle and a light for others to embody their own light.
Yeah.
So
The best thing.
that's our fifth value.
Yeah. The best thing, I mean, this is really connected to like the root of why we're doing what it is that we're doing while we're all here. But the best thing any one of us can ever do for anybody else is claim and step into our own power. Like physically, energetically, every single time somebody does that, it gives others permission to do the same. Even if at first that experience feels like a threat to other people. But it's what's needed to trigger some type of transformation. It's like literally slowly fine-tuning and raising the collective vibration and frequency. When you start to understand and recognize that neither one of us is separate here, the best thing you could do for the collective is step into your power in this life. Literally come for it all, because you came here for a reason, right? You came here to live out that life fully. and to share that with other people. So the more we can do that for ourselves, I mean, every single one of these values, I just want to say that every single one of these values starts with the relationship with ourselves. So use this as a way to check in with yourself first and foremost. Like, you know, what level of integrity do you hold within your thoughts, within your behaviors? How do you show up for yourself every single day? Do you show up honestly, right? Are you real with yourself when it comes to where you're at and how you're feeling consistently? How do you show up for yourself? You know, what does your best look like on any day? And are you okay with being where you're at? How resourceful can you become? Like, all of these things need to start within first and foremost. And that's how it slowly starts to extend into your relationships and into the community. So use this as a guide, as a check-in in all areas of your life. And especially when you show up in this community.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, what I say?
Every time you, you said every time you step into your power, you allow or you give
You give
permission.
permission for others to do the same.
Wow.
I think it also goes back to, you know, the honesty and the transparency. Like, the people that are here to support you, your partners, they're not always going to be like, when you say, oh, I can't do this. Like, personally, if you have me as your sponsor, I'm not going to be easy on you. I'm not going to say, okay, like, because we know your potential. We know what you are. We know why you came here. You know why you came here. And I'm not going to lower down to meet you where you are by shitting on yourself. I'm going to stand where I am and know that you are there and allow you to meet me there.
Yeah.
And it goes hand in hand with, you know, embodying who you are, knowing your unique gifts, and standing in that so that others can be the fullest expression of themselves. They can be their highest self. And so, yeah, it goes down to also, you know, leaning on each other to keep each other accountable when we need a little bit of a reminder of like who we are and what we're capable of.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest things this business has also taught me is that I'm way more capable than I think I'm capable. And it comes through just doing. You do it and you're like, oh, I guess I can do that. I didn't realize I could do that, but I guess I can do that. So you're capable. Yeah, so these are our 5 values that we've put on. You know, these are values that will be passed on to people in your downline, will be passed on. Of course, we could change it here and there if it sees fit, but right now this is where, you know, we've kind of settled if you guys like it. And do you see yourself, like, honestly, do you see yourself embodying these values? Is this something that you really want to uphold?
Yeah. Do you feel like excited?
Yeah.
Like
so then this is what we're gonna keep.
This is also another way I want to say this too. Like, this is another way that we can show up and be accountable to one another. It's almost like not rules, but cultural commitments.
Yeah.
You know, you can use this as well when it comes to how you choose to respond to certain situations with people within the community, like in general, coming back to what these things reflect.
Well, I want to add that to this document, cultural commitments.
Cultural commitments. You know, this is like essentially like I'm agreeing to show up for each and every one of you in this way to the best of my abilities, recognizing that there's always room for growth and improvement, but that this will be the backbone for that as we move forward. Oh, mother. I'm sorry, the dogs.
I mean, this applies to everybody. So I'd just like to get a thumbs up or something from everyone. That they're all good with these 5 values that have been decided on.
I love it.
These are
I want to work on implementing in myself. And I want to also maybe ask the 3 of you to help kind of keep me accountable to this because this is so brand new for me and like I don't really I try to do things, but because I don't have the skills, I keep telling myself I don't have the skills,
Yeah.
not going anywhere with it, to be honest.
Hmm.
So
You know what I mean? Maybe if I could get like one of the, Sophia, you're my sponsor, so maybe you or really any of the three of you to kind of like check in, help keep me accountable. I think that would be really helpful.
definitely.
Yeah.
Anytime you catch yourself doing that, like I would find, for example, let's say I didn't feel like doing something. Number one, why we tell everyone when you first start your business, name your business. Have an actual name for your business. Mine is Savvy Life, my Savvy Life. Because when I don't feel like doing something or I'm on myself like, oh, I can't do that, I go back to, is this in the best interest of my business? That's a really great point to make because it takes you away from the emotion. We are emotional beings and we definitely, I'm one of the first people to say, like, I use your emotion for everything. Sophia and Alana know that about me. However, I also know there's a time and a place to separate it and to really be clear on where you're at, because sometimes your emotions will cloud your judgment and will allow you to make excuses rather than actually being honest with yourself.
Well, I think what it comes down to, it's like what you just said. It's the interplay between the masculine and the feminine. It's the interplay between the mind and the heart. Like they need to be in alignment. They need to be in harmony. We create with the heart, we execute with the mind, right? And so check in with how you feel, lead from the heart. But it's like what Savannah said, you know, with the person that you're looking to become, how would they respond in this moment? You know, they're not going to respond based on how you respond in the past, how you responded in the past. Sometimes it literally takes separating yourself from your business and recognizing that you are now responsible like for another entity rather than this business is me, because then you take things personally when it's you. Separating yourself from it, how would you treat something that you are responsible for, like a baby? How would you treat that thing? How would you show up for that thing? Right?
I think
Well, yeah, you're a mother. How would you show up for your children? Like literally starting to think about it in that way, putting on your CEO cap. Like I'm guys, I'm not kidding. When I say it, I literally will like metaphorically take my hat and put it on my head, because like even that act alone shifts my energy into that frequency. I'm no longer thinking like the person who was twiddling with the problem. I'm thinking about the person who's already 5 steps ahead, having moved through the problem, who knows the solution. Right?
Yeah. You also mentioned something about like how that person would respond. So going back to that, like why it's really important to decide on who, like we had a call a bit of time ago after we did the Women in Network Marketing Conference, one of our Zoom calls, it's posted on our channel. You know, we talked about naming your values, being very clear on what your values are on who you want to be, because when you know who you want to be, you can very easily see, am I in alignment with that person? Again, my dad's call, we also have that recorded as well. In my dad's call, he talked about how when he was making decisions in order to become Royal Diamond, he would make decisions based on what does that person do? What is the Royal Diamond? How does he respond? So maybe one thing that would help you is first outlining what type of business owner you want to be. What type of person of influence do you want to have? You know, what type of influence do you want to have? And when you can have that outline, then you can see, okay, what would they do? And so maybe you don't have the answers. And if you're experiencing something like, oh, I don't have the skills, reframe it, watch your thoughts, observe that, okay, this is something I'm focusing on right now, just in my own life, is observing like my thoughts rather than judging them. Be like, oh, okay, I noticed that I said that. Why do I think that? Okay, let's change that. I do have the skills.
Or
Focus, say, I do have the skills and I'm going to find out how. And then go to your sponsor and say, Sophia, I don't, look, this is what I want to do. I'm feeling a little bit lost and confused. I know I can do it. I just need some help. Can you help me out?
yeah.
And that goes back to the resourcefulness.
Mhm.
I think all of these actually, now that I'm like, you know, we're speaking, I think all
or
these
or
really
again
well together.
like asking the question, like how do I find the skills? how you like frame the problem in your mind is what really makes the biggest difference. Maybe you don't right now. Maybe you haven't learned them yet. That's okay too. Like, we don't expect you to know everything when you're just getting started. There's still so much for each and every one of us to learn, but you know someone who does. You on some level may be connected to someone who can help you. So just asking yourself the question, like, I don't know, even admitting to yourself in moments that like, I don't know how to help myself right now. So who can? Like, who can I actually reach out to that would be able to? Like, I tell all my team members this, in the moments when you're feeling the doubt, moments when you're feeling like retracting and pulling away, that's the time that I want you to call me. Like, those are the moments I want you to reach out to me. Right? And acknowledge that it's fully a part of the process too. Like, the more you start to understand that this is all normal, it's all inevitable,
It's all about the personal growth.
you can just show
That's
up
part of
open.
the business.
You can just show up open and curious about it. Like, oh, like, what's this experience right now teaching me? What's this story telling me? You know, with a little bit of curiosity, it just becomes, it almost becomes playful. It becomes kind of a game. Personal growth becomes a game in a way.
Yeah, we're breaking down barriers with this business. Like, even more and more, I'm realizing it. I'm like, oh my God, we're really having to switch from the E quadrant to the B quadrant. Like, it's a literally huge mind turn. And I'm still experiencing it, is what I'm realizing. Like, I'm still switching my mindset. I'm still not in the B quadrant mindset, but I'm looking and I'm asking for help to get there.
Yes.
Let's move to the next slide because I'm looking at the time.
Yeah.
Talking. Okay, so keep these values in mind whenever you're stuck.
Another
Go
slide.
back to them.
Sorry, I totally forgot we had another slide.
Yeah. So next, we outlined our mission statement and our vision. So, and where we want to talk to you guys about this. We all are also brainstorming our purpose statement. And these are things that, we're going to have on our Sovereign Life website when we revamp that. So our mission we have is to create the world's most influential wellness community by empowering those who are passionate about health and driven to serve others to generate a successful and sustainable income online that is independent of time while nourishing their body through Earth's natural energies and being supported by a network of others who are doing the same. I almost want to add something. I just realized, but I almost want to add something about like nourishing, I don't know, like being successful ourselves, like being able to like provide the life that you want for yourself.
Well, we said generate a successful and sustainable income.
Yeah, but that doesn't include like, embodying like balance in the 5 pillars of health. Do you think maybe we should include that?
Passionate about health, driven to serve, generate. Yeah, I mean, this can definitely be improved. The fact that it's all one sentence still
Yeah.
grinds my gears. Like, I can't. I'm literally like, so.
I know.
We'll definitely work on this. I think something about curating the life of their dreams or curating a life by design is like
Oh, can you take notes, please?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
curating a life by design, something like that somewhere in there. Like, because we mentioned online income.
I like that. I like that phrase, curating a life of design.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of this mission? Do you have anything to add to it or change, or this needs a little bit of revamping still, so all input is appreciated. Do you resonate with it?
The one sentence thing was so me. But other than that, yeah, definitely resonate.
Almost think vision goes before mission. Just because I feel like vision is like
Yeah.
the picture, and then our mission is like, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah, I could change that. Any other input, guys?
Well, we can. Sorry, go ahead, Mitchell.
I was just gonna say, what do you guys mean when you say change makers? I feel like it's a little bit broad for a vision.
Oh,
So the thing is,
oh, explain that.
yeah, like the thing is, the reason why it's broad is because this is a business that supports everyone's unique vision. But
Yeah,
I think the point of what we're trying to say is that like there's a space for everybody in here. And this is like a space that draws in individuals that are looking to have like an active impact in the world, like that are looking to actually like facilitate some form of change.
In their
We're
life
not-
as well, I'd say, like change makers in your own life too. Like you want to have you want to make a difference in the world, but you also want to make a difference in your own life.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely flesh it out more, but I think the point of
Yeah.
why we kept it a little bit more vague is because we're not trying to say like, this is the change you need to facilitate. This is what you need to do. We're saying, let's bring you into alignment with who you are and why you're here, give you the means to move forward in that way. And then you can share that with the rest of the world in whatever way you see fit, in whatever way you see fulfilling and meaningful to you. So it's almost like trying to honor the fact that everyone has their own unique vision, because that's what, you know, Nikan's philosophy has been for a very long time. And I think that's a lot of what we're looking to curate with Sovereign Life.
Do you have any ideas of how to, shift that sentence a little bit, Matua?
What about something like a global network of individuals who value change, or like something along those lines?
I will take a note.
Yeah. Throw it in there.
And what about
I
the
almost want to like, not so much who value, like, I like the idea of saying like who value change, but I like how change makers is active. Saying like people who are part of this community are change makers, like they are facilitating change. It's not that they appreciate it, it's that they actually are the movers and shakers, if that makes sense. They're taking aligned action on it. It was like the quote that we read the other day by Bob Proctor. It's not enough to think and grow rich. You actually have to act on it. I freaking love that.
Yeah. But guys, if you ever just
One network.
look up Bob Proctor quotes on Google, it's
They're
hilarious.
so good. But I think that's why I like the term.
If we're feeling like demotivated one day, just look up Bob Proctor.
Yeah, for real. For
Yeah.
real.
Do
He's
it.
like, yeah, his words were great. But yeah, that's kind of like my take on it. I like the sense, I like the fact that it's almost like active in a sense. Yeah, he's so good, guys. Like I just
Some funny ones, but
he said
Yeah,
change
for-
is inevitable, personal growth is a choice. I was like, right. No, two of my favorite quotes right now, guys. My favorite quotes because they're also so funny. It's not enough to just think and grow rich. You got to take action by Bob Proctor. Second is network marketing is not a daycare for adults. That one I think was Stormy Wellington.
I really like what he says here. If you don't get chills about your goal, you're not setting big enough goals.
Right.
He'll always tell you to, listen, you can't just think and grow rich. You got to do something with those thoughts.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. love it.
Only limits in our life are those we impose on ourselves.
Yeah.
Truth. Anyways. So yeah, do you guys have any other thoughts on this? Clearly it needs a little bit of shaping still.
Yeah.
But is there anything you'd add to either the mission or the vision that you feel you resonate with?
Like, remember, this is something that you guys are saying, like, you stand behind, right?
Yeah.
This is something you look to embody when you communicate with others about what it is that we're creating here, what it is that you're actively a part of. You know, this is it. So yeah.
We want to hear from you.
I can't really think right now of anything in particular that I would add, but like if I think of one, I'll add it to the group chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
See.
That's all. I mean, we are at 9:00. It's a full moon tonight. Everyone rest up. What's the moon in? Does anyone know?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But also, I just wanted to mention on that note, because we did have a little bit of a dialogue about like self-limiting talks, limiting paradigms, behaviors, like all of that, right? It's like an active process. Now's a really potent time to bring awareness and get honest with some of the thoughts, habits, and patterns that are holding you back from your goals at this moment. I just love how cyclical the lunar cycle is in general, because I feel like every single month we're being given another opportunity to like release what we need to shed, what's no longer serving us, bring awareness to it, and set new intentions for growth, literally every single month. And the more we start to tune into that, the more awareness we start to bring to it, the more of an active practice it becomes. And then you start to realize slowly, you start to step more and more into alignment with the person that you are wanting to become or wanting to be, right? So really great time to do a journaling practice of just like bringing some awareness of things that you're looking to shed, thoughts, patterns, and habits that are just like no longer serving you and holding you back. And then not just writing it out, moving forward into the rest of your month, bringing awareness to those thoughts, those habits, those patterns when they come up, and actively choosing not to subscribe to them. That's something I say quite a bit. Do not subscribe. Do not subscribe.
It was something I wrote down.
Moon is in Sag.
Something
Okay.
I wrote down recently from what I saw, or something I was listening to, and what I was talking about today. When you observe thoughts, don't judge them. Be like, oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Like notice your thought patterns. And then once you notice, like what you'll see is there's trends in your thoughts. You will have trends that show up throughout the week. You might say the same thing about yourself or observe something over and over again. Any thought that's negative, stop and rewrite it into positive. So again, saying, oh, I can't do this, reframe it right in the spot. And the more you resist that, the more you'll like, literally like, it's not that you'll brainwash your thoughts into it being positive. Your brain will just get so tired of this resistance that you'll stop having the negative thought.
Right. And I also think part of it too, because like some of it comes from like the disconnect that we have. Like I think sometimes I don't know if you guys resonate, but sometimes when I'm doing affirmations or I notice like negative self-talk and I try to reframe it into something I reframe it into something positive, like I can't versus I can, it's very polar. It doesn't always work for me because I don't really resonate with what it is that I'm saying I can do in the moment that I'm saying it. So I'll say it once or twice and then we stop, right? Because it takes many times over and over and over and over and over again before you finally reprogram that belief and that habit into your subconscious. So that's why I've gotten into the habit of starting to ask questions to become more curious. So similar to what Savannah was saying, when a thought comes up that's like not a non-serving thought, maybe asking yourself like where it's coming from, like being a little bit more curious about, the root of that entire experience, what that story was. But also similar to what we were saying before about resourcefulness, rather than saying I can't, it's just how can I? Maybe right now I'm in a position where I can't, but how can I? How can I figure that out? Rather than going from I can't to I can, you just ask yourself the question. You start to create a plethora of solutions for yourself. Word of the day, plethora. But you just like, when you start to ask questions, I think it creates a little bit of room for also not having to know the answer in that moment, because that goes back to perfectionism too. It's like we attach ourselves to the idea of having to know in that moment and have all the solutions and the answers. And then if we don't, we feel defeated. So if you just ask yourself the question, let it linger. Sorry, it's really loud, but let it linger and continue to focus on that. I think slowly we transition from the I can't to the I can as well.
I agree. I used to journal like that a lot too. Like, I know for me, it was very important for me to build a closer relationship with God and to get organized and to just like be like my higher self. So whenever I was journaling, I'd always say like, why am I so good at building a closer relationship with God? Why am I so greatly organized? How am I so good at building my team? Like, I would journal these things. I literally can show you the journals. Like I have these notes and I ask these questions. So guess it. And every day I do this. And the same question every day. And then I started noticing myself like, okay, like I'm putting things away, or I'm seeing like certain, like I'll come across a video that's like, oh, I can use this organizing video in my house or whatever. So like, it kind of portrays, or now I'm like, I'm having more time to read the Bible. I'm taking more time to sit down and pray, you know? So I noticed that as I'm asking these questions, my subconscious is allowing me to see images of events of when I can like make this come true.
Yes, because the mind likes to problem solve.
Yeah.
It does. We're natural problem solvers. So
Also reminded me I need to listen to Your Wish is Your Command again and get back into that. So.
yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys for being present tonight. I think this was a great call. I'm glad we have these outlined and you guys agree with them, the values. Remember, keep in mind are the incentives for this month. They're in the WhatsApp chat. There's, opportunities to earn money. And if you have any questions about that, ask your sponsors. And
Sending the link for the attendance right now, actually, guys.
Oh.
I beat you to it.
Oh,
you're awesome.
my guy.
Perfect.
Thank you. Actually, you know what? Still got to send it in the WhatsApp. Well, I guess it's not relevant. That's fine. Anyways. All right, guys.
So upload this, or Ellen, upload this ASAP if you can, so others can listen.
Yes.
All right.
Gotcha.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks for your contribution, everyone.
Everybody.
Bye, guys.